Hi, I'm Ashley. I was diagnosed at 35 years old. Actually, had just turned 35, spent my birthday in the hospital with stage 4 lung cancer, adenocarcinoma, non-small cell with the genetic mutation of ROS1. I am a mom of, at the time, 5 and 2-year-old little boy and girl, and I was working full-time, and I love, some of my hobbies are outside going on nature trails and hiking. Also, we have a pool in our backyard and we spend a lot of time swimming, and just swimming laps for exercise is definitely a hobby and something I was doing a lot leading up to my diagnosis. Also was working out with a personal trainer and weightlifting all up until the day the pain started. My husband and I were working out with a personal trainer, and I was weightlifting, deadlifting quite a bit of weight, heavy weights. We started HIIT workouts, so high intensity interval training. And so that morning we were swimming laps in our backyard pool to the point we were trying to huff and puff, because you want to, just do short intervals and be huffing and puffing. And so we went really hard that morning, did a really hard workout, HIIT workout, backyard swimming. And I noticed that I really couldn't be underwater for a very long time. And so went on about my day, started work. By 2:00 that day, started having sharp pain in my right abdominal area, like rib cage area. Kind of ignored it, was like, that's strange. That evening we were hosting our small group. So we had roughly like 20 or so people over, and we're eating food, and just sharp pain in my right abdomen area and my right shoulder area. And I just thought, man, is it something I ate? Like, is it gallstones? It's kind of like unbearable, like a lot of pain. But we had a ton of people over, and I was like, I'll just kind of get to this later after everybody leaves. That evening, there was our small group over. They ended up, like, by the end of the night, like laying hands on me and like praying over me, just in a sense of like, you're in a lot of pain. They left, and we just went about our night. The next day, I couldn't walk from my bed to the bathroom without hunching over pain. And at that point, we went to like a local ER. It was just kind of like a 24-hour ER. We went in, they did a workup, and they noticed that I had a lung full of fluids. And because I was 34 at that point, a non-smoker, they were like, you have pneumonia and you have a lung full of fluids. They sent me home with literally 12 prescriptions, being like muscle relaxer, pain relievers, an inhaler, and everything you could think of for pneumonia. That weekend, I spend in my room away from my kids because I have pneumonia and don't want to, get my kids sick. And so that evening, my lips started to turn blue. And my husband didn't tell me because I was like just an anxious person in general. But he said we needed to go back to the ER. And so at this point, we went to more of a hospital, you're admitted hospital. At that point, they clocked me in on my pulse ox at 74. So I thought my shortness of breath was contributed to the pain I was in, because I guess in my mind, with child labor, when you're in pain, it's hard to breathe. You're just in so much pain. I didn't ever think it was anything with my lungs or anything like that. I just I'm in pain, so it's hard to breathe. Did not think that it was anything, to do with my lungs. And so, we're at the hospital. I had them retest my pulse ox 3 times because I did not believe them. I was like, 70 something, your pulse ox machine is not working. This can't be so. And so, lo and behold, it was true. And they rushed in with getting me on supplemental oxygen. I stayed at this hospital for 4 days. And so we had a workup and had scans, had CT scans with contrast, and that's when the 6-letter word entered the conversation. It was extremely jarring and unforgettable. But yeah, just they said that they saw lesions on my spine, and they were saying like that would be, calcium deposits like osteoporosis or cancer. And being that I'm not over 60, not likely calcium deposits. So they had no idea what the primary would be of cancer, but that's just when the 6-letter word entered the conversation. From there, they did 2 biopsies at this hospital. And the first biopsy, they completely missed and the area, and I could feel it. I could feel the drill. I could feel everything. And because it was near the sternum area and very close to the heart, and I could feel it, they were nervous with proceeding because I would move and they could hit my heart. And so they had to cancel that. The next day I go in for a second biopsy. They completely put me under. And at that point, it's a whole different location because they missed the area they needed to go in the first time. And so they drained my fluid from my right lung. And then they also did the biopsy and sent that biopsy off and sent the fluids off. From there, we were just working on getting my oxygen back. They discharged me in 4 days and send me home with oxygen. Get discharged, and my husband's driving me 45 minutes down the road to Dallas. We go in all night through the ER. We're there for several hours. We get in pretty quickly, and we go in with an agenda of, hey, we'd love to get a PET scan quick. Like, we want to know if cancer is, and we had no idea you can't even get a PET scan outpatient, or inpatient. But, so we went in with the agenda to get a PET scan and not have to wait months for a PET scan, based off what the other hospital had told us. So we go in with our agenda, and next thing I know, it's like 1 a.m. by the time we get into the CR, and a rush of doctors are coming and hospital staff, and they're like, you have a really large pulmonary embolism. And they're immediately putting me on a blood thinner, and they're like, the doctor's faces I'll never forget. They're like surprised I've like survived this. So only by the grace of God did I go to this hospital, because the first hospital completely missed my pulmonary embolism, and the blood clot in my lung was huge, apparently. And so at that point, the agenda was clear that I was supposed to be there and on a blood thinner to begin working on this huge blood clot. I then would spend 8 days in this second hospital for a total of 12. And this hospital took such great care of me. We did a body scan. I was literally a bone scan, which is interesting, where you're like basically like a mummy. They wrap you up. I was terrified and claustrophobic, but I just had to go in that machine, and it's not like you can like numb out on your phone. You literally are just closing your eyes. And for me, talking to the Lord and trying to be courageous, because I knew I had no other option. It's like, I can't scream and move and have to restart this. So just closing my eyes and trying to like focus on scripture and focus on just the images of my kids. I asked them to do hard things, like, I need to just be brave and be still. And my eyes were closed and just for an hour, like in this bone scan where they come literally like within centimeters of your eyes and all your bones. So, the bone scan came back and it really ruled out calcium deposits and really was looking more like cancer. With the 8 days that I was at that hospital, the fluids had come back from the first hospital, and that's what had tested positive for adenocarcinoma. For those 12 really long, jarring, shocking days, we just kept holding on to hope of this must be wrong. Like, I don't have cancer, like just in disbelief. And we kept praying and hoping that it would have been the calcium deposits or just something else like, oh, there's nodules in my lung, but they're benign, So we just kept hoping and praying that it wasn't. But all signs were always pointing towards cancer. And so the moment that the doctor came in and confirmed it was cancer, I mean, I was in my hospital bed and just completely like lost it, like bawling my eyes out, like controllably shaking, just completely upset. It felt awful. It felt so unbelievable, and continuing to get like gut punches of it's not just cancer, it's lung cancer, because the doctor had told me that was in the hospital I was in for 8 days, said, you're a non-smoker, and if you have cancer, it'll be breast cancer. Like, that'll be the primary. And then I was like so taken back that, yeah, it's cancer, it's lung cancer, it's stage 4, it's inoperable, it's terminal. And, he just said so, lackadaisical, like, yeah, some live 5 to 10 years. So it was like just a tremendous amount of fear that rushed over me. But having to cling on to my faith and knowing that the ultimate physician is the one who has the final say. I decided to get a second opinion with MD Anderson just based off their reputation. I have an oncologist local and still like can get treatment here in Dallas if needed, and still have like an open file with them. But my like decision maker, quarterback of my care team would be MD Anderson. And then I also very much spend a lot of time and highly regard like integrative oncologist. So not just like the Western side of medicine, but another reason why I quit my job was I spend a lot of time during the week doing, things that are going to help my immune system, a lot of holistic care, and just integrative treatment. I don't think it's like all Western or all Eastern, right? Like all, traditional medicine or all, I think it's a blend of both. Like you take the best from both worlds. And so I do have integrative like oncologists as well that I highly regard their opinion. When it's like your mortality is on the table and you're seeing from these different groups, like so many 30-something-year-olds with young kids like passing away from this, it's like you want to throw 100 things at cancer, not just one. So MD Anderson gives me one solution and all my eggs are in one basket. And so would I rather have like multiple eyes on the glass or just one? And so I have multiple people that have eyes on the glass into this and weighing in. And sometimes they don't agree with each other. And that's where I have to be my own advocate and discern and ask God, like, what direction to go. And it's very confusing and very hard, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely don't think you just go one way. I think I do believe that like the like integrative world, like if we take a minute and look at it, they do a great job at looking at root causes. They do a great job of saying cancer isn't just this tumor that just decided to appear one day out of nowhere. It's something that's been building in your body for likely 10 years. And it's like a perfect storm. It's glucose in your body. It's your diet. It's your microbiome. It's your immune system is down. It's, are you alkaline or are you acidic? And so the cancer center that we uprooted our family for 6 weeks, went to California through Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. And, every day, 8 to 5, I was in this cancer center, and it's a integrative cancer center. And I went in rolling my oxygen tank. I went out without oxygen. So there's a lot of like benefit there in getting my body prepared for a hard drug I'm going to take the rest of my life. Like my liver enzymes, my liver needs to be in good health. My kidneys need to be in good health because they're about to be going into like the army. Like they're about to be going in, and like this medication is heavy on my kidney and my liver. So I need to get it in the best health that I can. And so like having a fatty liver is like a real thing. And like, our oxygen levels, like that was a big thing for me having lung cancer. And so doing things like the hyperbaric oxygen chamber and getting IVs of like high dose vitamin C and, it sounds strange, but baking soda, IVs of sodium bicarbonate, fancy word for baking soda, that's going to help alkaline my body. And so I don't have this acidic body where cancer thrives. I have an alkaline body where cancer cannot survive in. So I think my whole mentality on the integrative world is I want to create an environment inside of my body that cancer cannot return to. So where maybe this drug that I take every single night, I become resistant to it. I want to create an environment inside my body where cancer's not hospitable to it. My whole hope was like, pray I have a genetic mutation, because I don't want to do traditional chemo like at all. And so I really wanted to have a genetic mutation so that I could take a drug. And at this point, I was like a month into my diagnosis, and I had done so much research and like connected with people all across the world, and everyone that was having success had a biomarker, a genetic mutation, and was taking a drug and going NED. So I was like, that's the route, of course, I want to go. So every single night I take my TKI drug, and have been told that I'll be on that the rest of my life. I do take a lower dose because I cannot handle the full dose. So I did not even start out on a full dose. I started on like 3/4 of a dose, I would call it. And since then, I even take half now, like half dose. So I feel really great about that. I literally was walking in depression. I was literally walking in preparing to die. Like, and a lot of people on these groups are preparing to die, and they're like writing their kids' books and stuff. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I cannot prepare to die. And, in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, like my results start to go that way. Like, yes, I'll want to do a book, of course. But at this point, like, I would be considered like no evidence of active disease. And so I'm living life. Like, I am doing all the things and making all the memories and doing life hard. Like, literally, like, don't say no to anything. Like, just trying to do all the fun things. I feel great. My kids are like my everything. And like, we're not saying no to the pumpkin patch. We're not saying no to the Texas State Fair. Like, we're living life. And we're having a lot of fun. Definitely have hope. I mean, my faith is everything. So placing your trust in God and something bigger than yourself. Think positively. Think that you are healed. Keep walking like a healed person. Keep working out like a healed person. Keep doing life like you are healed. Also, advocate for yourself. Prepare. Don't just trust one doctor. Maybe didn't get good sleep the night before your meeting. Like, you get as many eyes on the glass. Like, your life is worth it. You're young. You have kids who count on you and need you. And so, like, go out and get as many opinions as you can. And don't be afraid to, like, raise a GoFundMe and, like, try to get the funds to buy all the things or see the doctors who, are out of pocket. Also, I think it's crucial to support your body integratively, holistically as you're going through this. So, I think emotional work is extremely important. I think I've learned in the integrative space that emotional work is just as important. I've heard from providers. I'm sure it's one of those controversial things, but I've heard from more than one provider that deals with cancer patients and has been for decades. The ones who don't survive are the ones who are not doing the emotional work.